Welcome back to And Just Like Crap, a semi-scathing review and recap of Sex and the City revival series And Just Like That. In this, the sophomore episode of Season 3, things are getting ratty. And for once, I'm not talking about anyone's botched face. Let's get into it. This time, we kick things off with a quick reminder that Lizette, the new owner of Carrie's old apartment, exists. She gifts Carrie a necklace bearing her old apartment number, of a material and style that I feel fairly confident in saying that our erstwhile heroine would rather have fired at her point blank out of a t-shirt cannon than be seen wearing in public. We also get a rare quantifiable check-in with Carrie's out-of-touch wealth, when we see her eyeing a dining table with a price tag of $6,750. I like to imagine that part of Mr. Big's torture, in hell, is knowing that his wife is spending all of his money on furnishing a house for his only real competition. Delicious. Remember last time when I said that Carrie's foray into fiction writing would produce something terrible? Well, it has. As with all of her writing, it's a thinly veiled autobiography, told from a third-person limited perspective, wherein her main character is exclusively and bizarrely referred to as the woman. Let's be honest, there's literally no chance this piece of shit isn't going to end up a success. But I really wish they'd let Carrie fail. Like, properly fail. In a show full of fantastical alt-reality goings-on, her career has always been one of the least realistic depictions of failing upwards outside of the producers. Having to deal with an actual setback would at least keep things interesting. And if you think I'm being harsh, look no further than the fact that she's writing the f***ing thing in 11-point Korea New, neither of which are industry or software standards. She had to have set it to that herself. But do you know what Korea New is the standard font of? Script writing. Chalk up another fail for the production crew. And then, I'm not done, then there's the reveal that she's writing historical fiction. Carrie Bradshaw, who I wouldn't trust to accurately tell me what happened in her own life yesterday, is going to spin a yarn set before Lincoln was president. F*** me. Luckily, a reverse Disney miracle happens when a swarm of rats, who have seemingly been reading her screen from a distance, dash out of her garden to stop her. This leads to two developments. The first is a widening gap between Carrie and Aiden as she begins to find their poorly defined contact rules confusing and the contact itself underwhelming. The second is the introduction of landscaper Adam, played by Logan Marshall Green. 3 guesses where this is all heading, but for the record, do it, Carrie. Not only because he's fit, but also so you don't have to politely pretend you haven't noticed Wyatt sticking tree ornaments up his arse at Shaw family Christmases.
Boo! You suck!
Apparently, it only took a handful of episodes of Charlotte rediscovering her agency away from her family before the writers decided to make her every waking moment all about them again. She and Lisa are hot on the trail of legendary Ivy Whisperer Lois Fingerhood, played by Kristen Schaal. She's the first of no fewer than 2 characters in this episode whose names are specifically chosen to set up extremely lazy jokes later on. Which is disappointing considering that the start of their quest features a joke with Tim Bagley's headmaster Greg, which is so impressively dark that I can't even tell you what it's about on YouTube. See? They can do it when they want to. The evidently chronically unoccupied pair track college application coach Lois down to her son's Little League game, and convince her to take a run at soon-to-be applicants Herbert Jr. and Lily. Hopefully to make sure they get into good schools as far away from New York as humanly possible. Turns out, Lois is running a covert psyop on overprivileged families, given that her advice basically boils down to Lily pretending to be a white theremin player, and Herbert Jr. pretending to be one of the kids from Dangerous Minds. After the deeply underwhelming payoff of the fingerhood joke offends Lois right out the front door, everything's back where it started. Which is pretty much how most episodes play out for the Goldenblatts these days. Let's see how many times it takes me tempting fate by saying that before Harry's having an affair with Anthony, and Charlotte's traipsing around Bergdorf Goodman stuffed full of love eggs like a dying chicken. This week in Who Gives a Shit news, though it pains me to say it, Anthony's decent character development last season is already being squandered. After his glorified cameo in the premiere, this time we're informed that he's going brick and mortar with his Hot Fellas bakery, complete with bread-themed everything. Charlotte was apparently so busy as to be unaware that Mr. Marantino had this in the offing. See? That's what happens when you have a friend who won't guilt you into selling your prized possessions to fund their personal enterprises. Carrie. Post-Ravi, Seema finds herself tired of the predictable series of men available to her in New York's dating pool. An intervention by business partner Elliot leads her to matchmaker Sidney Cherkov, the second character with a name that exists only for a predictable punchline. Although, if you'd like to see a better use of actress Sherry O'Terry, check out her guest appearance on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend Season 4. Strangely, Sydney's advice is to pretend to be a different person. In this case, as Seema accurately summarizes, the Easter Bunny's side piece. The contradictory message we're left with is that being authentic demonstrably doesn't work, but I guess loneliness is empowering? Thought-provoking stuff. And while we're forced to watch while Lily has a staircase tryst with current crush and ballet dancer Diego, the other Goldenblatt child, Rock, doesn't even appear in this episode. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Miranda continues to explore her newly defined identity this episode, largely through her burgeoning obsession with thinly veiled Love Island parody Bye Bingo. An overheard conversation about it at a typically bougie lunch. Actually, let's talk about that lunch. I'm assuming the place itself is real, but it appears to be somewhere you go to be served a bowl of plain tortilla chips, and then a waitress comes over with a serving station and hands you a bowl of sides, all mixed together? Is this objectively insane, or am I just not rich enough to understand it? Don't answer that. Anyway, said waitress is also a Bye Bingo aficionado, and Miranda takes this to be a sign that there's more than guacamole on the menu. I'll give you some time to make your own disgusting joke about that. There we go. Well done. What Miranda hasn't accounted for is that an accurate gaydar is something that takes a lifetime to properly hone. And for most of us, it's about not having your teeth kicked in after 30 seconds of light flirting. Not establishing how receptive service industry workers would be to you vaulting the salsa stand to garnish their taco. By the way, that was my contribution to the disgusting joke contest. It's during the ensuing conversation that we get one of several hints that the writers have been dropping since last season that they are very aware of the online discourse about their creation. Miranda enthuses about the wonders of hate watching, which feels odd. Kind of like a decorator painting a wall with their own shit, and assuming that the horrified homeowner is just fascinated by the brushwork. When the waitress turns out to be straight and married, remember that, Miranda? Ms. Hobbs falls back on a sure thing, which gives us the return of BBC producer Joy. Carrie encourages Ms. Hobbs to ignore her reservations and go for it, which should be a bad enough sign to make her run screaming in the opposite direction. Time will tell. This video's question is, what's your biggest texting drama? Misunderstanding? Betrayal by autocorrect? Accidentally sent to the wrong person? Let me know in the comments below, and the best will show up on next video's bill. Either way, thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and as ever, if you can't be good, be crusty.